There's 33,000 of them, many of them weaponized. Government takes our money, ships in the drugs, arrests anybody that doesn't launder the money with them, and then crashes drones into things, and then lectures us all day about how wonderful they are and how they're keeping us all safe. Again, drone crashes into SWAT team tank during police tests near Houston. But he didn't know anything about drones or anything. Continuing, this is some bad news out of Minnesota. Governor vetoes Cornish proposal. You heard a federal court said you can't keep people from having guns on campus, on colleges, especially in their dorms. You have a right to defend yourself. A criminal that's going to come shoot people isn't going to follow the law. They're going to come shoot people. It is very, 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 very simple. Now, expanding on that, this law would say we're going to stop arresting people that shoot people on their own property. Minnesota is so un-American. Good people up there, but run by commies and globalist thugs, that they were trying to pass a law saying in your home, in your car, if you're carjacked, in your mobile home, you can have a firearm and defend yourself if attacked. And the police are here saying, no, we don't want that, because you want the monopoly of force. You want us to have to call you to come protect us. I mean, this is really simple. Goes back to Rome over 2,000 years. You think the mafia just the last 100 years would come around for protection money, insurance they would call it, pay me protection or somebody's going to burn down your grocery store? Pay me or somebody's going to burn down the store. Not me, not my cousin, but somebody. But if you pay me, I can protect it. Hire my cousin. He won't be here, but you pay him a check. You pay him the money. In Rome, over 2,000 years ago, Julius Caesar's family actually made money off this. The fire department would come around and demand tribute. And if you didn't pay them, when there was a real fire, they'd come fight it. But if you didn't pay them, they'd come burn your business or your block down. And Rome had all these ethnic minority groups in it. They had the Goths, the folks from Germania in, one area, the Spanish in another, the Jews in another, Persians in another. I mean, Rome was super multi-ethnic, but everybody was in their neighborhood, just like, I guess, New York today. And so they'd come in and say, the Roman run thing would say, pay us all this exorbitant money, there's going to be a fire. And if you didn't pay, they burned you down. That's why Nero fiddled while parts of Rome burned, because people weren't paying him. He sat out there and fiddled. He was happy. You're going to learn to pay me protection money. And that's all this is. You call a cop when somebody's busting down your door. That's why I see articles every few days where some woman is in her house, calls 911, he's coming in with a gun and a knife. And 911's like, do not fire. Wait for police. Do not fire. And they go, he's coming with a knife. Hey, he's down. And they shoot him. And the police are like, how dare you do that? How dare you? Well, not the police themselves, but the bosses do. It's like, no, you only do that with us. You only call us to protect you. Now, I don't like getting into this subject because it really upsets me and lets me know how evil the people we're fighting are. I mean, it just blows me away. But New York Post, you name it, they're all reporting. New York prostitution ring provided minors for wealthy elitist clients, including bankers, politicians, and lawyers. So for 5 years, the Internal Affairs / Anti-Corruption Bureau was trying to stop them running kids. There were some decent cops who were like, well, letting prostitution go on is one thing, but kids, no. Look at that alleged piece of crap. Anyway, she is on record. She is on record. And put her back on screen if you can. In these tapes they have, going, I own the police, I own the judges and the top politicians. Well, you bet. I mean, whenever a governor or somebody gets out of line, they release who their hookers are. Well, this is underage. This is young people. This is children. This is minors. And she was bragging, but we'll see what comes of this. We'll see if she ends up dying like a D.C. madam who was just, involved in regular prostitution, which I think should be decriminalized. I don't think it's moral or good. It's degrading, but making it illegal just makes it underground and lets the government control it behind the scenes through black market and really lets women be abused by their government police pimps in most cases. That's who most of the whore handlers are. Here in Austin, living here now for 20 years, I've seen 5 or 6 times they bust police commanders running most of the whores. But side issue, you make it underground, you let the corrupt control it. That's the way it works. But the kid thing, when they're convicted, I want these people executed. Executed. I want child abusers, child pervs to know that you do stuff like this. You go after little kids, you are dead. But let's go through some of those articles for people. Hot mama in kink link to rich DA. And then it goes through here. It's just buried, the whole underage angle. But there's one of the articles. Pedophile warned he would attack again. Outrage after trial hears of how man begged to be locked away for life, was given his freedom within 3 years. Well, because the system takes care of their own. Woman, judge ran sex ring that killed boy, age 5, London Telegraph. And we just go over year after year of these. Police officials ordered murder, says serial killer. There's all these cases of them delivering the kids to the elites. Overwhelming evidence points to murder of D.C. madam. And she told me, you know, that she was being threatened, but that she would never commit suicide. FBI to reopen case against sex offender friend of Prince Andrew. Duke may be forced to claim diplomatic immunity to avoid questioning. How does a duke in their country declare diplomatic immunity? That's just royal immunity. They call it diplomatic immunity. The globalists say, I'm immune. And we go, oh, you are. They had cases in Sweden, other places where they did this, where they found the little kids in cages, government kidnapped. They're like, diplomatic immunity. How about immunity to scum? Oh, but I know that's radical. It's radical. So we've got that report. Here's another report on it. Oh, yes, there we go. Just more and more and more and more articles. Homosexual prostitution inquiry snares VPs with Reagan Bush. Callboys took midnight tours of the White House. This was back in 1989. And then it happened again with Bush Jr. kissing men on the head at press conferences who it turned out were male madams and porn stars. I mean, you can't make, I mean, they kiss in public, and I'm an extremist to cover it. And my point is, what they do with consenting adults is their issue. But the fact is they're being blackmailed with all this. That's the issue. You understand that? Stay away from people's children. Tell you, the Texas Youth Commission, state allows this stuff to go on with the kids that are grabbed. And you know what? It's time for justice to be served against these people. These are a bunch of globalist scum, enemies of every free human out there. All right, racing through the news ahead of the John Rappaport interview. Study, BT toxin in GM crops kills non-target species. And it goes on to break down the fact that they engineer these plants to grow their own pesticide, and guess what? It's killing birds and bees and other insects and other life that aren't the main target of the toxin in it. No kidding. Like us, who are then eating the corn, eating the soybeans oil, eating the soybean protein, eating the cottonseed oil. I mean, it is just incredible. What is going on here? Shifting gears, Iran trying to build nuclear missiles capable of hitting London, Cameron warns members of parliament. Remember, we heard that in 2003. Tony Blair said they're going to launch nukes. They're going to launch nukes at England in 45 minutes. We've got to attack. And, of course, there were not nukes in the country. All right. That is Iraq. Now for the quote of the day. Martin Luther King. I become convinced that non-cooperation with evil is a much more moral obligation as is cooperation with good. Again, I've become convinced that non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good. Martin Luther King. Absolutely. It's very simple. Evil men and tyrants when good men and women do nothing. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington both gave similar quotes. All right, great job of the crew in the news segment. We're going to go to break, and we're going to come back with John Rappaport, who is just an amazing investigative journalist on a host of issues, including the group that advises the government saying the state has a right to kill children up to age 3, even if they're perfectly healthy. See, first we were like, don't kill the mentally handicapped kids because, you know, next it'll be everybody. And it's wrong to kill them too. You know, look at Stephen Hawking or any of these people, or Helen Keller. And they're like, oh, we'd never do that. Now it's like, we'll just kill everybody. And they're like, oh, well, I'll accept killing retarded children then. You know, they're like, don't call them retarded. That's politically correct. Just kill them. Don't call them retarded. See, in this politically correct world, it's like, don't call them a name, just kill them. Call them mentally handicapped, but kill them. Alex, big controversy. You just called them retarded. You're trying to save their lives. Don't call them a name, just kill them. See how the mind games work? It's INFOWARS Nightly News. You're watching this out there in cyberspace, millions a week do. Watching us there in England, we're on the main cable channel. You want to watch the show, not just a compilation of it? Become a PrisonPlanet.tv subscriber. Pay it forward. Help us hire more reporters, more crew, better equipment. Become a subscriber, 15 cents a day, or do a 15-day free trial right now at PrisonPlanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. We'll see you after the break.
One is a serial hypocrite who lobbied for Freddie Mac before the housing crisis and for the individual mandate before Obamacare. Another, a counterfeit conservative who opposes right to work, massively increased spending, and funded Planned Parenthood. Finally, a flip-flopper who's been on all sides, supported TARP bailouts, and provided the blueprint for Obamacare. Three men, one vision. More big government, more mandates, less freedom. One man stands apart, ready to deliver real change, voting against every tax increase and every unbalanced budget every time. A real plan to cut $1 trillion year one and to balance the budget in 3. Pro-life, pro-liberty, guided by faith and principle. Ron Paul, the one who will restore America now.
I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
And it's time to get out of the comfort zone because these people aren't playing games. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job. 9/11 was an inside job. We're going to organize. Humanity's going to come together. We are swinging muskets here, toe-to-toe with the globalists. They're bloodied. We're bloodied. It is absolute, total war. Welcome back to this Wednesday, March 7th, 2012 edition of InfoWars Nightly News. We're about to be speaking with investigative journalist par excellence, John Rappaport, and trying to even go over his bio was amazing, from national television, Nightline, writing some of the biggest publications in the country, CBS Health Watch. He's just an amazing political mind. And he's also, for now about 2 decades, been boldly really breaking with the system and exposing the New World Order. In fact, I remember when I first woke up in 95 or so, I remember seeing some of the videos and interviews that he was doing. So, you know, he's somebody that kind of broke with the whole establishment, even though he was successful to expose the New World Order. A great guy. I've got a host of issues I want to cover with him. Now, when I was at his blog today, I got reminded of something that we've been covering. It's another example of the power of the alternative media taking on the dinosaur media, because he was covering